Howdy y'all, it's your favorite trainer with a belt buckle. Today we're going to take you through what it looks like to program for a 60-year-old with shoulder pain. I'm at our Santa Monica location. We also have La Jolla. These private facilities are strategically placed around equinoxes, which invest over $250,000 in market research. Someone recently commented on our YouTube saying, well, what if I can't charge $600 plus per month? At Show Up, we charge $150 to $250 per session because of the 4 P's of marketing. Product, great trainers. They've all gone through the best internship. They all have their Show Up Fitness CPT. We have therapists, doctors, registered dietitians, all part of our team, which leverages us to make us elite trainers. The price depends on where you're at in the marketplace. Where are you located? If you're in the Midwest, comparative to LA or New York, or Austin, Texas, you probably can't charge nearly as much. You got to look at your location. And then the last one's going to be promotion. So maybe you want to give a discount to get people to show up. At Show Up, we charge $125 for the assessment. Sometimes we'll give a 25% discount. It's $100 for the month of July. You need to do your market research. Hopefully you found this video helpful today. Check out my book. New one's going to be coming out here in a few weeks. And also the podcast. Remember, y'all, keep showing up. For the first CCA, we're going to begin with the unilateral pattern because most people have walked upstairs, done something similar. So we're going to do a single leg step up. Moving into a push pattern, a bar push-up is great for beginners. So in the background, you can see there's a bench press. As you'll see, you'll do the push on the bench and then end off with an accessory for a dead bug. After 3 rounds of the first CCA, we will then move into the second circuit, beginning with the hinge pattern for an RDL for roughly 10 to 15 reps, progressively overloading every set. After the first set of the RDLs, we will move into a pull pattern, which will be antagonistic to the first CCA, which was a push. And here we will do a split stance row, get into a lunge position, and then you pull back. And then we will end off with an accessory of a wall angel, which is great for the posterior muscles. And for this last circuit, the CCA will begin with the squat pattern, of which we're going to do a goblet. And then we're going to move into a shoulder exercise because we've hit the back and the chest. So we want to hit at least each muscle once during the workout for a full body. So we're going to do a single arm press here, ending with an accessory of a band walk. Remember, the accessories are client orientated. For this individual, they did not want to work on cardio, so we did some lateral band walks. So I began with doing some foam rolling the thoracic region, going back and forth. And as a trainer, I will typically get over my client and shake them back and forth, obviously appropriately. Then I like them to really reach to focus on scapular protraction, keeping the head neutral, and seeing if we're capable of getting our elbows to touch behind us. Then I'll move into unilateral rotations, and I'll have my hands to really focus on my clients reaching above and beyond. And I'll do this for anywhere from 30 seconds to 45, and then move on to the warm-up. I really like these band retracted rows. Puts constant tension in the mid-back. A common flaw you'll see is driving through the upper traps. So I'll walk around my clients, pushing down. Always ask before you touch a client. So you'll see how my scapulars are protracting off of my rib cage. I really want to focus on squeezing the mid traps. I will put my hands in the middle to focus on that retraction and really just cue not to drive through the upper traps. And then from here, I'm going to move into a small 1 to 2 pound ball that you can work with some stability for the rotator cuff muscles. Then I'll add in some marching to look at balance, to see if we can go right into a lunge or if we need to regress back into a step up. And for our client, what I found was lunges were perfectly appropriate. So I'll do this for maybe 30 seconds and then move into the next drill. And to keep in mind the protraction with the scapula, we did some reverse lunges and some pressing just to really check out the competency of her movement. We did some leg switches at the bottom. And it's very common to see your clients go back into those bad habits of driving through the traps. So just be walking around in 360 degrees, pushing their traps down, making sure we're driving through the heels, big toe and little toe when it comes to the lunge positioning. And then I moved into some snow angels. I'll put a band behind the wrist. We're moving up. optimizing upward rotation, not driving through the traps. Again, very common to see driving with the upper traps. This warm-up took roughly 3 to 4 minutes, and then we moved right into the first CCA. And for the first set of step-ups, we braced the wall. We do not bounce and really focus on the eccentric control. For sets 2 and 3, we added a little bit of load, but we kept the reps between 6 to 8. The second core movement pattern was a push. I like bench push-ups because it's nicer on the wrists. Common flaw you're going to see, driving through the elbows. Also looking more like a T and not having the whole system come down to the bar. So we want to have our butt come to the bar. Shoulder blades down, neck tucked, and then we move into the accessory. And so when we come back to set 2 of the push-ups, we made it more challenging by lowering the barbell to increase the intensity. And we did this for sets of 6 to 8. And then for the third round, we made it more challenging by having her abduct her leg out, which is going to stabilize the core and make it more challenging. For the first accessory, we did some paylofts, and I'm using the rack here as the anchor, but I like to hold the band to get engaged as the trainer. I'll add some perturbations by shaking it up and down, and then we progressed into some half kneeling positions. Tall kneeling would be on both knees. Half kneeling is the lunge position like this. Really just overemphasizing, again, don't drive through the upper traps. I'll be behind my client pushing their traps down. And this does a ton for helping your clients with any type of shoulder discomfort or pain. And then here are some variations that you can do with your clients if you feel like it's appropriate. You can make it into a dynamic drill where you have them move their legs. You can have them get into a deep squat position. You can go into a fourth of a squat. And you could do a lot of auditory cueing for this drill as well. After the first CCA, we moved into the second CCA, beginning with an RDL. So I like to teach the hinge pattern with a pipe and really emphasize the knees not migrating forward. It's very common to go to our toes and drive to the knees. And the pipe is just a great tool to help maintain those checkpoints of the head, the mid-back, and the lumbar region. And now here's what it looks like from an anterior view. Watch my show up logo on my shirt. I retract, show me your chest, keep a proud chest. Not too much of hyperextension through the neck. And then sets 2 and 3, we added some load. The black kettlebell is 15 pounds. The red kettlebell is 10 pounds. Another cue I like to use is to have your clients try to bend the pipe on their shins or make your knuckles white. This encourages lat activation. A common movement flaw you'll see is your clients reaching forward with the kettlebell versus pulling it back and keeping your lats engaged. Remember, don't let your knees migrate forward. It's just your hips working. And then you can progress into another drill, which is really great, by grabbing a foam roller and putting it behind your clients to encourage the hinge versus a coming down pattern. And so this is going to encourage your clients to push their butt back. You could also tell them, imagine you're trying to close your dresser drawer. These are great little cues to reinforce the hinge pattern. The second core movement pattern, part of the second circuit, I had her do some band pull-aparts. Probably one of my go-tos for teaching clients how to retract their scapulas. The great drill to complement the banded one we did earlier. Common movement flaws you're going to see is your clients moving forward and they're rocking because they don't know how to truly get your scapulas off the back. From a posterior view, you can see the rocking and the driving through the traps here. You can notice the inferior angle of my scapula. It really drives off the rib cage. A common flaw that you'll see is they just kind of keep our scapula stuck, also referred to as dyskinesis. I don't like to use that with my clients. Just encourage them to get their scaps off the back. And for the last accessory in the second circuit, we did these snow angels, and I had her sit down because she was getting a little lightheaded due to the medication that she's been taking. So we spent a lot of time during the rest periods after the accessory talking about goals and life, education, where you grow up. And these are really important conversations to have with your clients because they are investing into the person. And when she got a little woozy, I gave her some glucose tablets. The workout on the right was the planned CCA for the whole entire day. You'll see how I had a whole other circuit plan with the goblets, the single arm presses, and banded walks. But the 2 circuits that we did with the conversations during the rest periods, because it was challenging for her, we only ended up doing 2. And I decided to have some modifications for the first CCA. Instead of doing dead bugs, I wanted to do those paylofts. In the second one, I didn't do the split stance row. I just did band pull aparts because I wanted to keep it simpler. So the great thing about the CCA is it allows for you to plug and play. The accessories I will constantly change because something may not feel right with a client, or if you're at a big box gym like Equinox or Lifetime, you may need to modify based on your environment. And so you can also change the C1 to the C2. So for example, if your gym did not have a step up available, you could have done the RDLs into the pull aparts, into the wall angels as the first circuit. So this is a great way to program because it keeps you adaptable within your environment. Please comment and let us know other videos that you would like to see. The left was what we actually did. The right is what I had planned. We're doing these a lot more, discussing on our podcast and more YouTubes.